Right, welcome back, everyone. We'll start the discussion this morning from the point of taking a look at an analysis of what the elections have brought to our faces, what has been the experiences during the presidential election, and now the governorship and state assembly elections held on Saturday. What are the lessons there? What are the hopes of Nigerians? Then we also take a look at what the church in itself also think it's having to project as far as the issues of lessons and expectations would be across board in Nigeria. I'm being joined this morning by a Clergy, Reverend Dr. Olumuyiwa. Good morning. It's nice to have you on the program.
Good morning. Thank you.
Let's start from what was the stance of Nigerians. What was the disposition of Nigerians to political gladiators in these elections? When you look at the outcome of those elections and the way and manner the people voted, you find the incumbents losing seats, you find young people getting on the stage, you find more women coming on the stage. What does this portend for the Nigerian state?
Well, it's a powerful signal, and that is to let us know that things will not just continue the way it used to be. With the election, most especially with some prominent, I will not say anything on that now, losing their seat, incumbents losing the seat to an opposition or just upcoming one, is a sign that Nigerians are waking up. Yes. And the era of let's continue to do it anyhow, and when we come back, it is a matter of money. That era is getting out of the system. Because in the previous experiences, when the election is coming, few days to the election, you will see these brothers and mummies around, moving from house to house. You don't see them immediately after they win election and after swearing in or whatever. You don't see them again. But immediately election is coming again. That will be after 4 or 3.5 years. You will see them around. They begin to distribute this and that. But this era is now telling you that it can no longer work. Another lesson I discovered there is the fact that our youth are getting up. At least the eyes of our youth are becoming opened. And in all honesty, look at the experiences of the recent years now. NSAS, whatever, Japa here and there, and the scarcity of fuel, scarcity of naira, no job and everything here and there, insecurity. So people are now getting to know that giving me 2,000 in 4 years will not solve this problem. And if you look at what is happening around, you discover that an average family is affected. The experiences we have gotten in these few months is worse than what we experienced during COVID. During COVID, we still enjoying little palliative here and there. If you have your garden at your back, and the insecurity was not as this bad. And the little cash you have, you can still access. But now you can't access your cash, you cannot transfer your cash. So we know the system is collapsing. And people are now getting up to say, era of deception is gone. We have seen what is going on. Mm-hmm.
Now, beyond that, what also would you say of the era that you talked about, that we're now having a shift, the paradigm shift, especially in the voting pattern of people? Let's talk about what's been the trajectory. Vote buying and selling, because if there's no seller, there's no buyer. If there's no buyer, there's no seller. So the issue of vote commercialization, some of the view that it is getting eroded. Many of the view that that's deception. That it's even getting worse. What do you say?
It's a matter of time. You know, it's just like, when I look at this thing you are saying, it's just like when you have a father who is a thief, and he has gotten birth to children. And what do you expect the children to be? They will be thief. So even by the time you are succeeding in pushing the father away, the children are still there. So somebody who is a thief, there is nothing you do, there is nothing you tell him, there is nothing you offer him, he will still steal. And that is why they are so desperate. I saw it on the news that EFCC arrested some will be prosecuted. I think with time, You know, in the past there was nothing like that. But with time, I want to believe it's reduced in this recent election. Though I may not be able to ascertain the percentage of reduction, but it's no longer like the one where you will be at the polling booth and they will be telling you, Edibo Kesebe, Edibo Gokada, Edibo Reja. You know that one is no longer obtains now. At least it's no longer in practice. Let me put it that way. So it's a matter of time. I strongly believe that the time is coming that we will overcome that.
Do you think that all this issue of prosecution, if it happens, that it will still go a long way in serving as deterrent to those who might have the propensity for such criminality? It's not enough to arrest. Prosecution might really be important. What do you think?
Well, if they prosecute them, at least it will serve as a lesson to some. And it will get to a stage when, if they are prosecuted and they are given the normal punishment for that kind of act, it will serve as a lesson to some others, and thereby it will reduce. It may not eradicate totally.
Okay.
Don't forget that it may not eradicate totally, but it will reduce. It will reduce. And don't forget that if you are bringing a new idea, don't expect that it will work immediately. We are resistant to changes, and it's not always easy. So that's my.
All right, the vote buying issue, as we said, it's taken another dimension. This time around, people are no longer talking about physical cash. They're talking about dropping account numbers and all that. Well, thank God you expressed a hope that it's going to change. Okay, now let's come to your constituency, which is the church, and the role it's played in this last election. Would you say the ministers have done well, looking at the issues of several prophecies, endorsing candidates and things like that?
I knew you would ask the question. The ministers, let me tell you something. When you talk of pastors, it's a simple identity that anybody can pick up and declare himself to be. You know, it's not possible for me now to wake up one day and say I'm a broadcaster. You can ask me, how did I come about it? But the pastoral issue is so loose that somebody can just wake up one day, buy this table, put 2 years of white linen, put a handbell and a Bible there. The friends come in and you say, Mui. And I said, no, point of correction, I'm now a pastor. We have them. We have them. And that is why some people were amazed. I saw some on social media that some people prophesy, if this one does not come, if this one, mark my word, this one. Most of them, the fact that somebody is having a big church, having name, having fleeting of cars does not mean he's a pastor.
So, why is it so? Why is it so, the profession or the calling, so to speak? Why is it so loose that anybody can come in and say, I am one? All the professions are talking about how to do away with quacks in their profession. Is the Christian body, okay, maybe can PFN and whatever regulatory bodies you have, are they doing anything to make sure that people are ascribing this title to themselves are really one indeed?
The problem with this, we are in a land of free religion. You can wake up one day and say you have become this. Nobody questions you. And unfortunately, very, very unfortunately, our association, Christian Association of Nigeria, we are so weak that we have no any authority to come and close wherever you open. If you turn this your studio today now and say this place has become a church, I have no right to come and close it. Chairman has no right to come and close it. And unfortunately, sometimes when we go to our leaders, this thing is this, except that person involved in any criminal activity that prompts the government to take part. That's where the problem lies. But that is why you see at times you will hear that a pastor impregnates a church member. Is that not so? If I'm a true pastor, that church member, I will see her as my daughter. If I'm a true pastor, that man, the husband of that wife, I will see him as my son. Is it possible for me to go and impregnate my son's wife? It's not possible. But the truth of it, we are online, so I will not say some things. But inside the system, we know ourselves. When we get to our meetings, we know ourselves. We know those who are truly called and those who call themselves. We know those who are called by circumstances. There's no job in Nigeria now. And if you can manage yourself, maneuver yourself to become a pastor, you know what, at least come the worst, offering will come on Sunday. That is the truth of it. We know ourselves. I've been in the system. I'm a pastor for over 20 years by the grace of God. I read electronics engineering before the Lord called me. So I knew where I was coming from. And I knew where I am. And I knew where I'm going.
Now, it comes to me, your analysis as saying that anyone could just wake up one day and then just say one thing or the other. What does it speak to? Permit the word. I don't want to use that word, but let me say the innocence of Nigerians. Some will want to call it gullibility, but I don't want to call it gullibility.
No.
What does it speak to? The weakness of heart of Nigerians in just because all of those people you talk about, predictions here, prophecies there, you still find that the next Sunday service, the church is still as full as anything. Having also boasted that if a particular candidate wins, it will go back to the world, quote and unquote, and all of that. What does it speak of us as a people?
Well, from their own side, let me clear something. The fact that somebody makes a prophecy and it's not coming to pass does not mean the person is not a child of God. But there is something, sir. If God, this God we are talking about, God is not man. You understand me now? The way he does his things is different. Look at when he sent Jonah to Nineveh. He said, go and tell them, go and warn them. But because Jonah arrogated some things to himself, he got there and said, Nineveh is going to be destroyed in a few days. Unfortunately for him, he wanted Nineveh to be destroyed. And he based the message of God on his own thought as well. You know, when you have a base, a thought, and the message of God is coming upon your thought, and you don't allow your thought to be broken so that the message of God will sit, you will end up messing yourself up. God can say, I want to destroy a place today. The youngest child in the town can cry to God and say, God, remember I'm here now. You remember the conversation of Abraham with the angels? He said, God, if we find 50 there, will you destroy them? He said, no, how will I destroy a city when I have 50 people? If I have 14, if I have 13, I knew if the conversation continued till 5, it's possible the city may be spared. So the fact that now, supposing Abraham succeeded in pleading, you know, anybody who had seen the vision that this town will be destroyed tomorrow and had gone out, you say sometimes this work of God knows how to humble every one of us. The day you think you are all in all, that is the day you begin to finish. Some of us, because God has used you at one level or the other, maybe mightily, it is only in your profession that you can grow to become an authority. In God's service, you can never be an authority. I'm a PhD holder, and when you talk, I always tell you that PhD is nothing when it comes to the revelation of the Lord.
Okay, but one would expect, when God says something to you and he's changing his mind concerning that, he's also going to tell you that, look, I am changing my mind on this subject due to so and so. But in this case, it has not been so. And also, I just want us to look at the issue of where people come and make pronouncements in the name of God, and it is not so, and they are having so many Nigerians under their influence. It is, I don't think it's right. And do you think there is need? Maybe if the CAN, PFN, and other religious organizations are not having the authority to do so, do you think it's wrong for the government to step in to say, no, we are going to eject or sanitize this set of people? Do you think that would be a wrong move?
Well, let me say something. If God says, I will do something, and he does not do it again, it's just like we are living together. I give you an instruction. I have a television program this morning. I want to eat before I go. And I later look at my time, I say, I'm not going to eat again. I've said I will eat. I said I'm not eating again. Do you see any difference there? Now, when God said, I'm going to destroy this, or I'm going to give the mandate to this person, let's come to the context we are discussing now. This person is going to win, or this person is not going to win. Probably for one reason or the other, God see another reason to change that position before. If you who have received the message, you have gone out to blow it, and you are now bragging as if you are the originator of that message, the person will fail. And by the time the Lord is changing his mind, or by the time another thing is coming up, they are not available again. And now, sometimes, sorry sir, let me add this one. Then sometimes, please, the fact that God tells you something, does he ask you to go and announce it?
Okay.
And that is why you now know the true child of God who humbly seeks the face of the Holy Spirit before going ahead to do anything.
Let's delve into the matter a bit further. Taking a look at the outcome of these elections. I'll give you an instance. In Ondo State, the All Progressives Congress APC swept 22 seats of the 26 available. The PDP took 4. In Osun State, the PDP took 25, leaving 1 for the APC. Now, what do you think this speaks to quality legislation, checks and balances, separation of power in a democracy?
It's almost becoming one party system. That is how I see it. Because if the majority in the House is from the same party, I think there will be no check and balances.
Of course, there must always be majority in the House.
But this one is too extreme. Leaving only 1 out of 25. That is 24 versus 1, Abi.
25 versus 1, versus 26.
1 out of 26. That is one party system operating already. That is how I see it. And that means, in most cases, if except the Lord helps the people, I mean the community, to have good governance, if the government choose to be bad, they will be bad because nobody is going to echo the voice of the...
Are you saying it's not possible to be in the same party and have divergent opinion on issues?
No, it's possible.
So
it's possible.
So what are you saying? You just said
no, I just look at it
and you're saying
supposing they have critical issues to vote. You know, sometimes opposition they do help the communities in some areas, because when the ruling party is going wrong, opposition will take it as an advantage to come out and speak and say this is this or this. But a situation now where it is only one party, that is only fear I'm talking about. But with the help of God and with the way things are, I think it can be okay. But
the case is different in those states. It's not 20 something to 1. It's 20
to 4.
So does that also give you a palpitation that it might not also be leading to robust discussion and legislation in the assembly?
Yes, it's possible. It's likely. This thing is in 2 ways.
Okay.
If it is the system we have been operating in the past, when a party is almost becoming like a carcass, and they are one in everything, and they use money to do everything. But now, even with the election we have just witnessed now, it's showing that the way things used to be in the past, it may not be so. Don't be surprised if you go there this time around and you don't deliver. By the time you come back, you can see people losing their own constituency, losing their polling booth. So that is to tell you, if they want to hide under the umbrella that now we are one and nothing will happen, they may eventually fail at the end of the day. And with the way things are now, you cannot predict the youth of this nation anymore. You know, it is in those days that youth will come out, block the road, set fire. They finish you on social media now. So I think that will not be a big problem.
Let's go to Oyo and Lagos states. Many have been talking about the anticipated change that was really the source of discussion all along. But you see, some are also talking about what is the place of performance in gaining the confidence of the people. Which one played out in Oyo State, where the margin of victory of Seyi Makinde is over 250,000 votes to his closest challenger? And when you also look at what played out in Lagos State, what are the factors that you think were responsible for the victory of Makinde and Sanwo-Olu?
I think the election have spoken no. Because if you look at what, I'm not from Oyo State, but at least following the news and traveling there, I do go there sometimes, Ibadan, Oyo, and all the rest. With the performance that we have seen there, and the comment of common man, I'm not talking of social media now. Comment of common man shows that Seyi Makinde really worked in that state. And if you look at it, the recent election, the opposition really tried. They even thought they would use the influence of the president-elect at least to unseat the PDP in that state. But the work Seyi Makinde did spoke for him. And that is why I was saying the other time that if you want to say a party is having all the house and all the rest, does not mean they can just take advantage anymore. And I think the same thing is happening in Lagos too. When people see the work you do, the era of coming to the television to tell us lies is no longer there.
Okay, like some people alleged that the issue with Oyo State is a kind of bargain issue. You know, he helped G5 and helped the president-elect to get into office. Then the people, were also asked to support him. Do you think that was the case?
Well, Seyi Makinde refused to mention some things yesterday. He was on TVC yesterday. He was on Channel yesterday. And when a question like this came, he said, don't let me talk on it. So when the person involved does not talk on it, who am I to now talk on it? But I think he had played maturity beyond his age. Yes. And he had the system he put. No, I really commend the guy, honestly. You see the way he welcomed the president, the Asiwaju when he was campaigning. You see the way he welcomed. It's unusual in opposition parties. And that is to tell you, Seyi Makinde is not a desperate politician, but an intelligent young man.
Well, now the elections have been held. The results are out already in many places. Just a few would be what has still been expected. Now, what should be the charge to these elected representatives of the people, especially at the closest to the people, in this case, the houses of assembly? What should be the charge to them? You see, the euphoria of, yes, we now have more women, we now have more youth and all of that. Personally, I have not been so elated beyond looking at what should be their performance. What do you think should be the preoccupation in their minds as they go represent their people?
You mean the church?
I'm not talking about the church.
Okay, those elected. Well, they should see their imagine now as a great privilege. Because in this election, so many giants fell, have you? And if you are privileged to now get it, you must know that it is a privilege. And like I used to tell them in my own place, if you are there, if you are elected, it's not because you are good. It's a privilege. And it's also a call to service. And that is my own counsel to them. Okay, we are talking of Seyi Makinde now. If he had messed up his first chance, they would have thrown him out completely this time around. So we only appeal to all of them to see this as opportunity to serve this nation. This nation is thirsty. We are eager to see changes. People are tired of so many things, and I want to believe they will do the needful.
Reverend Dr. Olumuyiwa, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us on the just concluded election. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Everyone, we will take another break. When we return, we'll still be taking a retrospective look at the just concluded election. What are the lessons there for everyone? Please do stay with us. We'll be right back.